In a lot of ways, you had the ideal child actor experience where you worked a lot, you were on an indelible show, but you were still free to carve out your own adult trajectory and make human mistakes without a ton of judgment. So talk about that, if you would.
That's a really interesting point, Louise. I once had that conversation with Tony Dow, who played Wally, the older brother, Leave It To Beaver. He died not so long ago. But Tony and I met up years later, and he said, Steve, you had the best advantages. You had all the pleasure of being on the show without being typecast. People remember, if they're hardcore Leave It To Beaver fans, they remember the character of Gilbert. I'm glad they do. And it was great fun to do it when I was a kid. But I didn't want to do it as an adult. I did not want to be an actor as an adult. I wanted to be, as it turned out, a broadcast journalist, which is what I became. So Tony said, look, you had the advantage of being a childhood actor, having a lot of fun, making a little money, and then you moved on to the next stage of life, to another adventure, and you didn't carry that baggage around with you. I did a little bit. But not so much. So now, this stage of my life, I'm in my 70s, 74. It's great to look back at the acting I did as a kid, which I really enjoyed, and to have had the satisfaction of becoming a documentary filmmaker and working for some great shows like Frontline.
Well, you probably had some early indication of how iconic Beaver would be, since it was constantly running in some sort of rerun fashion, and you'd walk into a room and your college buddies would be like, "Are you Gilbert?" So it just has never stopped playing since the moment you walked off the set, correct?
Well, that's the weird thing, because when we did the series, we had no idea it was still going to be around 60 years later, still on TV. It's never been off TV. So what happened is none of us were aware of reruns. My dad was the actor Lyle Talbot. He was a movie actor and then a TV sitcom actor for many, many years, the next door neighbor on the Ozzie and Harriet show. And my dad was one of the founders way back in the 1930s when he was a contract player at Warner Brothers. He was one of the founders of the Screen Actors Guild. And over the years, the Screen Actors Guild became very powerful, important, influential union and managed to get a lot of great benefits for actors. But back when I was acting and he was acting on TV in the late 50s, early 60s, there were residuals for repeat broadcasts, but only for 6 on a sharply declining scale. So you might have gotten paid, I might have gotten paid, say, $150 a day to be on Leave It To Beaver, and we'd shoot an episode in 3 days. And that was good money at that time. But then your residual check would come when they were repeated once, and it would be half that. By the time it got to 6 for some showing in Tokyo or something, it would be like 35 cents. My dad would mail those residuals to me in college as a joke.